The Tour de France. More than a race, it's a moving festival and the ultimate test of endurance. Every July, the world watches as elite cyclists battle across France's villages, mountains and cities, cheered on by roaring crowds. For 3 weeks, these athletes face brutal weather, grueling climbs and high-speed sprints, all for a shot at glory. The spectacle is unmatched. Vibrant jerseys, the iconic yellow leader, and a peloton racing through breathtaking landscapes. Fans line the roads, sharing in triumph and heartbreak, united by the drama unfolding before them. This is the grandest spectacle in sport, a celebration of courage, passion, and the spirit of competition. The Tour de France is woven into French culture, as essential to summer as sunshine itself. It's a free, open-air event anyone can watch, turning the entire country into a stadium. The race is a traveling festival, with sponsor caravans, picnics, and families making memories along the route. Each stage is a journey through history, passing ancient ruins and storied battlefields, connecting past and present. Above all, it's about people, riders, teams, volunteers, and fans, all part of a living emotional drama. That's why the world can't look away. High in the mountains, the Tour's true character emerges: pain, grit, and glory. A lone rider, face etched with agony, climbs as fans scream encouragement, pushing him beyond his limits. The Tour is a brutal ballet: suffering, teamwork, and sacrifice. Behind every leader stands a team of domestiques, unsung heroes who give everything for a shot at Paris. Each day, riders are tested. Some crash, some falter, few survive to the end. To finish is a triumph. To win, legendary. This is the Tour's symphony. Suffering transformed into greatness. The Tour de France began in 1903 as a daring gamble to save a struggling newspaper. 60 riders, on heavy bikes and rough roads, set out from Paris into the unknown. They were pioneers, facing epic distances and hardships, with no support but their own grit. The first winner, Maurice Garin, became a national hero, and the race captured France's imagination. La Auto's sails soared, and a legend was born. The world of sport would never be the same. The Tour's origin was not about sport, but survival. A bold move in a newspaper war. Henri Desgranges, desperate to save Lotto, seized on journalist Gio Lefebvre's wild idea: a race around France. The plan was audacious, the obstacles immense, and many doubted it could succeed. But the promise of epic stories and national drama was irresistible. After tweaks and incentives, 60 riders signed up for the first tour. The stage was set for an adventure that would change history. Sometimes the greatest legends begin with a leap into the unknown. On July 1st, 1903, history was made in Montgeron. 60 riders, the pioneers, gathered for the first Tour de France. These rugged individuals, blacksmiths and factory workers, were about to embark on a life-changing adventure. Their machines were primitive, heavy steel frames with a single fixed gear. Each rider was his own mechanic, carrying tools to fix problems by the road. The stages were long. The first, Paris to Lyon, was 467 kilometers. Among them was Maurice Garin, a tough chimney sweep and the race favorite. As they set off from Montgeron, they were pedaling into legend, starting the greatest annual sporting event on Earth. The first Tour de France was a raw, gritty adventure on treacherous roads. The route traced France's borders through flatlands and rolling hills. Riders faced dirt tracks, cobblestones and gravel paths, battling choking dust. Nights were spent pedaling through darkness, a lonely battle against fatigue. Henri Desgranges, the strict race director, demanded self-reliance. The race captured the public's imagination, turning riders into heroes. When Maurice Garin won, the Tour de France was born a legend. The 1904 Tour de France, following the success of the first, descended into chaos and scandal. Riders cheated and fans turned violent. It became one of the most infamous races in history. Riders took trains, were towed by cars, and fans sabotaged rivals. The top 4 finishers were disqualified, and Henri Cornet, finished in 5th place, was declared the winner. Desgranges was furious and ready to quit, but the public demanded the tour continue. He reluctantly agreed, staging the 1905 race with major changes to prevent cheating. After the chaos of 1904, Henri Desgranges knew the Tour de France needed a new challenge. He found his answer in the mountains. For the first time, in 1905, the race route included a true mountain climb, the Ballon d'Alsace. The first man to conquer the mountain was René Potier. The mountains would become the theater where the Tour's greatest dramas would unfold, separating champions from the rest, forging their legends in the unforgiving landscape. The introduction of the mountains changed the Tour forever, creating a new type of hero, the pure climber. In 1910, Desgranges sent the race into the high peaks of the Pyrenees. The challenge was so extreme that one rider famously shouted, "You are assassins," at the race officials. These stories of hardship and resilience built the Tour's mythical status, proving it was the toughest race in the world. The years before World War I saw the Tour de France come of age. It was an era of the sport's first giants, riders whose names became legendary for their strength. They turned cycling into a professional sport, capturing the public's hearts with battles across France. Their stories of courage and rivalry built the Tour's rich history. One of the first champions was François Fabre, known as the Giant of Colombes. His most famous victory came in the 1909 Tour, winning 5 consecutive stages. Fabre's great rival was Octave Lapise, a versatile Frenchman. Their battle peaked in the 1910 Tour. Another giant was Philippe Thys, the first to win the Tour de France 3 times. These men were the first superstars of the Tour, setting the standard for champions to follow. The high mountains introduced a new specialist, the pure climber. Smaller, lighter men, they danced on their pedals with grace, earning nicknames like Eagles and Angels. Their exploits became legend. Gustave Garrigou, the first true king of the mountains, excelled in the Alps. He was a benchmark for climbers, turning the painful act into art. Eugene Christophe's broken fork and arduous repair defined the pre-war Tour's individual struggle. The mountains tested resourcefulness, forging heroes and the mystique of places like the Tourmalet. They were the angels who gave the Tour its soul. As the Tour de France grew, Europe was plunged into darkness. The 1914 assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand happened while the Tour was underway. The race became a symbol of French national pride, but fell silent for 4 years. Many cyclists fought on the front lines, and an entire generation of riders was lost. After the armistice, France was desperate for hope. Henri Desgranges believed bringing back the Tour de France was a national duty. The 1919 Tour de France was a somber but significant event, a powerful symbol of rebirth. It was also in this year that the yellow jersey or maillot jaune was introduced. The 1920s were a period of immense hardship for Tour riders. Henri Desgranges, the race director, believed the event should be a brutal test. In 1924, the Pélissier brothers protested what they felt was exploitation. Henri Pélissier famously told a journalist, "You have no idea what the Tour de France is. It's a calvary." He revealed the cocaine, chloroform, and ointments riders used to survive. "We are not racers," he declared. "We are convicts of the road." The explosive interview caused a massive scandal, exposing the suffering behind the Tour's heroic facade. Despite the controversy, the convicts of the road mentality only added to the Tour's legend as the toughest race on earth. The era of the convicts of the road was also a time of great champions, none more surprising or compelling than Ottavio Bottecchia. His story is a true rags-to-riches tale. Bottecchia, an Italian bricklayer, fought for Italy in World War I. He arrived at the 1923 Tour de France as an unknown. But Bottecchia was a revelation, finishing the race in second place overall. In 1924, Bottecchia returned to the Tour, this time as a team leader. He seized the yellow jersey and wore it all the way to Paris, becoming the first Italian to ever win the Tour de France. It was a dominant and historic victory. He repeated his triumph in 1925. Tragically, in 1927, he was found dying on a roadside. His death remains one of cycling's great unsolved mysteries, but his legacy in the Tour is secure. As the 1920s drew to a close, the Tour de France was on the cusp of another major transformation. In 1930, Henri Desgranges made his most radical change yet. He abolished the trade teams altogether and introduced a new system of national teams. From now on, riders would represent their countries. Desgranges' newspaper, Liotto, would provide all the riders with identical yellow bicycles to ensure a level playing field. This new format would define the character of the competition for the next 3 decades, creating some of its most memorable rivalries and heroes. The first star of this new national team era was a Frenchman named André Leduc, who won the Tour in 1930 and 1932. Another dominant figure of this period was Antonin Magne, nicknamed the Sage, who won the Tour in 1931 and 1934. This era cemented the Tour's place at the heart of French national identity. The Second World War halted the Tour de France. The conflict left France deeply wounded, facing immense rebuilding. The Tour was a vital symbol of recovery. The race needed new leadership. Responsibility fell to L'Équipe newspaper. Under Jacques Godet, the Tour was reborn in 1947. The 1947 Tour was a powerful statement that France was back. Equipment evolved with lighter steel frames and derailleur gears. Jean Robic, nicknamed BK, wore a leather helmet. On the last day, he launched a surprise attack. He won the Tour de France without having worn the leader's jersey until the end. It captured the hopeful spirit of the Tour's new beginning. The post-war era was defined by the rivalry between Gino Bartali and Fausto Coppi, a clash that divided Italy. Bartali, a devout Catholic, contrasted with Coppi, a modern revolutionary figure. Bartali's 1948 Tour victory at 34 was legendary, reportedly calming political tensions in Italy. Coppi, a force of nature, revolutionized cycling with his meticulous preparation and solo breakaways. In 1949, he was the first to win the Tour and Giro in the same year. Their rivalry defined cycling, dividing fans and creating epic battles. A photo of them sharing a water bottle captured their complex relationship. Coppi's tragic death in 1960 ended a visionary's life, but their rivalry forged cycling's golden age. As the Coppi-Bartali era faded, Hugo Koblet emerged, bringing glamour to the Tour de France. The handsome Swiss rider was nicknamed Le Pédaleur de Charme. Koblet epitomized cool elegance, always immaculately dressed. He'd famously comb his hair before the finish line, captivating fans. Koblet's defining moment was the 1951 Tour de France. His performance was a masterpiece. On stage 11, he attacked 135 kilometers from the finish, holding off Coppi and Bartali. He won by 3 minutes. That attack effectively won him the Tour. Koblet, the Swiss timekeeper, showed the world a new image of a cycling champion: perfection, elegance, and charm. One of the most profound changes in the history of the Tour de France had nothing to do with bikes or riders. It was, in fact, the arrival of television. In the early 1950s, television was still a new and exciting technology, and its potential to broadcast live sport was just beginning to be realized. The Tour, with its daily drama and stunning scenery, was the perfect subject. For the first time, people who lived far from the race route could experience the event in their own homes. They could see the pain on the riders' faces, the beauty of the landscapes, and the excitement of the finish line. Television opened a window to the world of the Tour. The first televised broadcasts were limited and experimental. They often consisted of short highlights filmed each day and shown in the evening news. Live coverage was a huge technical challenge, requiring mobile cameras and transmission equipment to follow the race across the country. But the impact was immediate and honestly immense. The popularity of the Tour skyrocketed. It was no longer just a French event, it was becoming a European phenomenon. Viewers in Italy, Belgium, and Spain could now watch their national heroes battle for glory on the roads of France, creating a new level of international passion for the race. This new media exposure changed the economics of the sport forever. The riders and teams were no longer just competing for prize money, they were moving billboards for their sponsors. The logos on their jerseys were now visible to millions of potential customers. The value of sponsorship soared, and cycling became a much more lucrative profession. This influx of money led to greater professionalism within the teams. Budgets increased, allowing for better equipment, more support staff, and more scientific approaches to training and nutrition. Television was transforming the Tour from a gritty endurance contest into a modern professional sport. Of course, this new visibility had its downsides. The pressure on the riders increased enormously. Every move they made was now scrutinized by a vast audience. A moment of weakness, an argument with a teammate, or a tactical error could be broadcast for all to see. The race became a more controlled and calculated affair, as team managers, aware of the television cameras, directed their riders with greater precision. The era of the long spontaneous breakaway became rarer, as teams worked to keep the race together for a telegenic sprint finish. Television brought the Tour to the world, but it also changed the very nature of how the race was run. In the mid-1950s, France found a new hero who perfectly embodied the traditional values of the Tour de France. His name was Louison Bobet, a former baker from Brittany. You know, Bobet was not a naturally gifted rider like Coppi or Koblet. Instead, he was a man who achieved greatness through sheer hard work, determination, and an incredible capacity for suffering. His early career was marked by disappointment and moments of fragility, which, well, earned him the nickname the Crybaby. But Bobet learned from his failures and transformed himself into one of the toughest and most respected riders the sport has ever seen. Bobet's great breakthrough came in the 1953 Tour de France. On the grueling stage over the Col d'Izoire in the Alps, he launched a legendary attack. The Isorde is a fearsome climb with a desolate, moon-like landscape near its summit known as the Cassé Desert. It was here that Bobet rode away from everyone, his face a mask of agony, to take the stage and the yellow jersey. It was a victory born of pure grit, an exhibition of what the French call panache. He went on to win the Tour that year, finally delivering the home victory that France had been craving since the end of the war. What made Bobet a legend was his incredible feat of winning the Tour de France 3 times in a row in 1953, 54, and 55. He was the first rider in history to achieve this consecutive hat trick. His victories were not easy. They were ground out through meticulous preparation and an intelligent, tactical approach to racing. He was a student of the sport, a rider who knew how to manage his efforts and peak at the right moment. His 1955 victory was perhaps his most impressive, overcoming terrible weather and a crash to seal his place in the history books. He had mastered the art of suffering, turning his earlier weakness into his greatest strength. Louison Bobet represented a bridge between the old and new eras of cycling. He embodied the old-school values of courage and individual suffering. But he also embraced modern methods of preparation and teamwork. He was a thinking man's champion, a hero who had to fight for everything he achieved. His success inspired a generation of French riders and re-established France as a dominant force in its own race. Bobet's story is a powerful reminder that in the Tour de France, talent is important, but it is often the rider with the greatest will, the one who can suffer the most, who ultimately triumphs. As the 1950s ended, the stage was set for another classic Tour de France rivalry, a fascinating clash of styles and personalities that would define the next era. It was a duel between the ultimate climber and the ultimate rider against the clock. On one side was Federico Bahamontes, a Spanish rider from Toledo. He was a mercurial, unpredictable character, a pure climber of breathtaking ability. He was nicknamed the Eagle of Toledo because of the way he seemed to fly up the mountains. For Bahamontes, the race was all about the climbs. The flat stages were just something to be endured until he could reach his preferred terrain. On the other side was a young Frenchman from Normandy, Jacques Anquetil. He was the polar opposite of Bahamontes. Anquetil was a cool, calculating, and seemingly emotionless rider who revolutionized the way the Tour was won. He was a time trial specialist of unparalleled genius, a human metronome who could ride at an incredibly high pace for long distances. He was nicknamed Monsieur Chrono, Mr. Time Trial. Anquetil treated cycling like a mathematical equation. He knew exactly how much time he could afford to lose to climbers like Bahamontes in the mountains, confident that he could always win it back, and more, in the time trials. Their rivalry created a fascinating tactical battle. Bahamontes would launch spectacular, explosive attacks in the high mountains, dancing away from the field and winning stage after stage in the Alps and Pyrenees. He won the overall Tour de France in 1959, a victory built entirely on his dominance as a climber. The crowds adored his flamboyant style and his passionate, all-or-nothing approach to racing. He was the romantic hero, the artist who painted his masterpieces on the steepest canvases the Tour had to offer. He made the mountains his personal kingdom, winning the King of the Mountains prize 6 times. Anquetil, however, represented the future. His first Tour victory came in 1957, but it was his subsequent run of 4 consecutive wins from 1961 to 64 that changed the sport. He perfected a new way to win the Tour: stay with the climbers in the mountains, limit your losses, and then annihilate them in the individual time trials. His approach was less romantic, but brutally effective. He was a cold, efficient winning machine. This clash between the passionate eagle of the mountains and the cool, calculating Breton against the clock provided a captivating narrative for the Tour, ushering in the modern era of specialization and tactical racing. The 1960s belonged to Jacques Anquetil. He commanded respect with his ice-cold efficiency and intellectual approach to racing. Anquetil perfected winning the Tour de France with minimal effort, delivering the killer blow in the individual time trial. Anquetil became the first rider to win the Tour de France 5 times. His great rival was Raymond Poulidor, the opposite of Anquetil. Poulidor attacked relentlessly, but never wore the yellow jersey. The French public adored Poulidor, but it was Anquetil who always won. Anquetil was a complex champion who changed the way the Tour was raced. He was a pioneer of modern professional cycling. In 1967, the Tour de France confronted its darkest side. On Mont Ventoux, British cyclist Tom Simpson collapsed and died. His death, broadcast live, defined a moment in Tour history. Heart failure, exhaustion, and amphetamines contributed to the tragedy, sparking anti-doping reforms. Simpson's memorial now stands as a reminder of the human cost of the Tour de France. After Anquetil, a new force emerged, Eddy Merckx. He could climb, time trial and sprint. Driven by an insatiable need to win, he earned the nickname the Cannibal. Merckx arrived at his first Tour de France in 1969 and devoured the race. He won the overall sprint and climbing classifications, a feat never repeated. For the next 5 years, the Tour de France was Merckx's playground. He attacked everywhere and was unstoppable. Merckx's hunger for victory was absolute. He set a standard of greatness. The Cannibal remains the benchmark. Bernard Hinault, nicknamed Le Blaireau, the Badger, ruled the peloton with an iron fist. He won 5 tours, built on pure power and courage. Hinault's reign was challenged by Laurent Fignon, an intellectual from Paris. A great French rivalry was born. In the 1989 Tour, Fignon lost by 8 seconds to Greg LeMond. It signaled a new, more scientific era in cycling. The 1986 victory of Greg LeMond was a watershed moment. He was the first American, the first non-European to win the Tour de France. His victory, built on tactical intelligence and an embrace of new technology and training methods, opened the door for a new wave of international riders. LeMond's story was made even more remarkable when he returned from a near-fatal hunting accident to win the Tour again in 1989 and 1990. He was a clean-riding hero, a symbol of a modern, globalized sport. His success helped ignite a cycling boom in the United States and changed the face of the Tour forever. The 1990s saw the race dominated by a powerful Spanish rider, Miguel Indurain. Like Anquetil, Indurain was a big, powerful time trial specialist. He was nicknamed Big Mig. From 1991 to 1995, he became the first rider to win 5 consecutive tours, a new record of sustained dominance. His method was brutally simple and effective. He would crush his rivals in the long time trials, gaining huge amounts of time, and then defend his lead in the mountains with the help of his powerful Banesto team. But during his reign, the shadow of doping began to loom larger than ever, with many questioning the incredible performances of the era. This shadow grew into a storm with the arrival of another American, Lance Armstrong. His story was at first one of the most inspirational in all of sports. A cancer survivor who had been given little chance to live, he returned to the sport to not only compete, but to dominate. From 1999 to 2005, he won an unprecedented 7 consecutive Tour de France. He became a global icon, his yellow Livestrong wristband a symbol of hope and resilience for millions. His victories were built on a new level of professionalism, with a team, US Postal Service, that controlled the race with military precision. However, throughout his reign, Armstrong was dogged by persistent rumors and accusations of doping. He vehemently denied them all, aggressively attacking his accusers. For years, the cycling world was divided. Many wanted to believe in the fairy tale, the story of the cancer survivor who had conquered the world's hardest race. But the whispers would not go away. The Armstrong era was a period of immense commercial success for the Tour, but it was built on a foundation that would eventually crumble, leading to the biggest crisis in the sport's long and troubled history. The American era, which began with such hope, would end in deep controversy. The house of cards that was the Lance Armstrong era came crashing down in 2012. After years of investigation by the United States Anti-Doping Agency, a damning report was published. It contained sworn testimony from numerous former teammates who detailed a sophisticated and systematic doping program organized by Armstrong and his team. The evidence was overwhelming and irrefutable. USADA described it as the most sophisticated, professionalized, and successful doping program that sport has ever seen. The fallout was swift and brutal. Lance Armstrong was stripped of all 7 of his Tour de France titles and banned from the sport for life. The scandal plunged the Tour de France into its deepest crisis. The record books for 7 years of the race were now blank, with no official winner listed. The credibility of the sport was in tatters. Fans felt betrayed, sponsors fled, and the media questioned whether cycling could ever be trusted again. The very soul of the Tour was at stake. It was a painful and necessary reckoning, a moment that forced the sport to confront the widespread cheating that had plagued it for a generation. The Tour de France, which had survived 2 world wars, now faced a battle for its own survival against the cancer of doping. In the wake of the Armstrong scandal, the fight for a clean sport intensified. The cycling authorities, in partnership with anti-doping agencies, implemented some of the most stringent testing protocols in all of professional sport. The introduction of the biological passport, which tracks a rider's blood values over time, made it much harder to use performance-enhancing drugs without being detected. A new generation of riders came forward, many of whom were vocal advocates for clean cycling. The culture within the peloton began to slowly shift, with a greater emphasis on transparency and ethics. The road to rebuilding trust would be long and difficult. Despite the turmoil, the Tour de France endures. The race itself is bigger than any single rider. Its history is filled with trials, triumphs, and controversies, and it has always found a way to continue. The champions who have emerged in the post-Armstrong era, riders like Bradley Wiggins, Chris Froome, and Tadej Pogacar, have raced under a level of scrutiny unimaginable to previous generations. They have helped to restore faith in the competition. The Tour has been forced to look at its dark past, but in doing so, it has taken crucial steps toward a cleaner future, ensuring that the magic of the yellow jersey can continue to inspire for years to come. The Tour de France is now a global event, a spectacle of immense logistical complexity and worldwide appeal. Broadcast live in almost 200 countries, it reaches billions, transforming the race into a powerful marketing platform. The digital revolution has amplified its global reach, allowing fans to watch every kilometer live on multiple devices. Social media buzzes with updates, while apps track riders' live data, creating an immersive experience. Today's peloton is a true United Nations on wheels. With riders from over 30 countries, the race remains rooted in its French identity, blending local culture and global sport. The Grand Depart has been hosted in cities outside of France, exporting the Tour's magic to its international fan base. The modern Tour de France is defined by a thrilling new generation of riders who are tearing up the old rulebook. They're complete cyclists, able to climb, time trial, and attack on any terrain. They race with an aggressive, instinct-driven flair, making the competition more unpredictable. At the forefront are riders like Tadej Pogacar and Jonas Vingegaard. Their battles have captivated the world. This new generation also includes talents like Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel. They bring explosive power to the road. They're winning back the hearts of the public, proving that the future of the Tour de France is in very good hands. Technology has always been part of the Tour's evolution. Today, the race showcases cutting-edge science. The bikes are marvels, sculpted for aerodynamics and incredibly lightweight. Electronic gear shifting allows instant changes. Riders are monitored with precision. Every pedal stroke is measured, allowing for a calculated approach to racing. This reliance on technology is a double-edged sword. It's pushed performance, but some argue it's made racing too predictable. Safety has also been a major focus, yet danger remains inherent to this thrilling high-speed sport. While technology has transformed the Tour, the passion of roadside fans remains wonderfully constant. The Tour de France is still the most accessible major sporting event. Every summer, millions flock to France to be part of the spectacle. Before the riders, the publicity caravan rolls through, a tradition dating back to the 1930s. The creativity of the fans is a spectacle. The mountains are where this passion peaks. The noise creates an incredible surge of energy, a raw, emotional and powerful experience. This shared experience is the enduring soul of the Tour. For most of its long history, the story of the Tour de France has been an exclusively male one. While women have competed in various, often short-lived versions of a women's tour over the decades, they were never given the same platform or prestige as the men's race. They were treated as a sideshow, an afterthought. But in recent years, a powerful movement for change has gained momentum, driven by the riders, fans and sponsors demanding greater equality in the sport. The fight for a true women's Tour de France, with the full backing of the race organizers, has been one of the most significant and positive developments in modern cycling. This fight finally led to a historic moment in 2022 with the launch of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. This was not just a token one-day race, it was a multi-day stage race, properly organized and televised, that gave the world's best female cyclists the platform they had long deserved. The race began in Paris on the same day the men's tour finished, a symbolic passing of the torch. It featured its own iconic climbs and dramatic finishes, immediately capturing the public's imagination with its aggressive and exciting racing. The creation of the Tour de France Femmes marked a huge step forward for the sport. The race has been a phenomenal success, the television ratings have been high, and the crowds lining the roads have been just as passionate as those for the men's race. It has created its own stars and its own compelling storylines. Riders like the Dutch champion Annemiek van Vleuten and Demi Vollering have become household names, their incredible performances inspiring a new generation of girls to get on a bike. The race has proven what many always knew, that women's professional cycling is a fantastic sport in its own right, full of drama, courage, and world-class athletes who deserve the spotlight. The journey towards full equality is not over. The women's race is still shorter than the men's, and the prize money is significantly lower. But the momentum is undeniable. The success of the Tour de France Femmes is driving investment and growth in women's cycling at all levels. More teams are turning professional, salaries are rising, and media coverage is increasing. The image of a female rider in the yellow jersey, climbing the same legendary mountains as the men, is a powerful symbol of progress. The Tour de France is slowly becoming a more inclusive event, one that better reflects the world we live in today. In a world that is constantly changing, the Tour de France remains a powerful and enduring symbol. It is a race that connects the past to the present. It is a celebration of place, showcasing the incredible beauty and diversity of France. It brings communities together. The Tour is also a profound human drama that unfolds day after day. It is a story of triumph and heartbreak. We watch because we see the full range of human emotion on display. Ultimately, the Tour de France today is a symbol of resilience, a timeless and beautiful symphony of suffering and glory. At the very heart of the Tour de France is a simple garment, the yellow jersey. It is the most iconic and coveted prize in cycling. To wear it, even for a single day, is every rider's dream. It is a symbol of leadership, strength, and immense sacrifice. When a rider wears it, they carry the weight of history, joining an exclusive club. The jersey symbolizes human endeavor against impossible challenges, requiring talent, fortitude, and intelligence. It's a testament to teamwork. No rider wins alone. Ultimately, the yellow jersey represents pushing limits and achieving the extraordinary. It reminds us that with courage, we can conquer any mountain. In an age where the world often feels fractured and divided, the Tour de France serves as a powerful unifying force. For 3 weeks every July, it brings people together. It is a free spectacle, open to everyone, regardless of their background, their beliefs, or their nationality. Along the roadsides of France, people from all walks of life stand shoulder to shoulder, sharing in a collective experience. They are united by their admiration for the riders' courage and their love for the spectacle of the race. In that moment, as the colorful peloton flashes past, any differences between them seem to melt away, replaced by a shared sense of joy and excitement. The Tour also helps to unite a nation. It is a rolling festival that travels the length and breadth of France, connecting the big cities with the smallest, most remote villages. It brings the world's attention to regions that are often overlooked, celebrating their local culture, their cuisine, and their history. For the French people, the Tour is a source of immense national pride. It is a part of their cultural identity, a tradition passed down through the generations. It is a shared conversation that takes place in cafes, offices, and homes across the country, binding the nation together in a common passion for this beautiful, brutal race. This unifying power extends far beyond the borders of France. The race is a global event that fosters a spirit of friendly international competition. Fans travel from all over the world to witness the Tour in person, creating a vibrant, multicultural atmosphere on the famous climbs. At home, audiences from hundreds of countries tune in to cheer for their national heroes. The race provides a platform where athletes from different nations can compete fiercely but with respect, their battles on the road creating drama that transcends language and cultural barriers. It is a celebration of what unites us as human beings, our capacity for passion, struggle, and achievement. More than anything, the Tour de France is a celebration of a shared landscape. It is a reminder of the beauty of the physical world we all inhabit. As the race travels through stunning scenery, from the sun-drenched fields of Provence to the majestic peaks of the Alps, it encourages a collective appreciation for our planet. The helicopter shots of the peloton snaking through these breathtaking landscapes are a form of poetry in motion. They remind us of the connection between humanity and nature, and in a world facing environmental challenges, this celebration of the great outdoors feels more important and more unifying than ever before. As the Tour de France pedals into its future, it faces a road filled with both significant challenges and exciting opportunities. The race has proven its resilience time and time again, but it cannot afford to be complacent. One of the most pressing challenges remains the constant fight for credibility. The shadow of the doping scandals of the past still lingers, and the Tour must continue to be a leader in the promotion of clean sport. Maintaining the most rigorous anti-doping protocols is essential to retaining the trust of fans, sponsors, and a new generation of riders who are committed to racing clean. The battle for the sport's soul is a continuous one. Another challenge is adapting to a changing world and a new media landscape. While the Tour's global audience is massive, it must continue to innovate to engage younger generations. The rise of digital platforms, on-demand streaming, and social media presents a huge opportunity. The tour can bring fans closer to the action than ever before, using data, behind-the-scenes content, and interactive experiences to make the race more immersive. The key will be to embrace this new technology while preserving the traditional elements and the core narrative of heroic struggle that make the race so special, finding the perfect balance between innovation and heritage. The growth of women's cycling represents perhaps the greatest opportunity for the Tour's future. The incredible success of the Tour de France Femmes has unlocked a vast, untapped potential. Expanding this event, ensuring it has the platform and investment to grow, is not just a matter of equality, it is a matter of smart strategy. A strong women's tour doubles the drama, creates new heroes, and attracts a broader, more diverse audience to the sport. The journey towards a truly equal footing for the women's race will be a defining story for the Tour in the coming decade. A chance to cement its status as a modern, progressive, and inclusive event. Finally, the Tour must also navigate the broader societal challenges of the 21st century, including environmental sustainability. Staging such a massive traveling event has a significant environmental footprint. The organization has already begun to take steps to reduce its impact, using hybrid vehicles, promoting recycling, and working to protect the natural landscapes the race passes through. This commitment will need to deepen in the years to come. The future of the Tour depends not only on the drama of the race, but also on its ability to be a responsible global citizen, ensuring that its beautiful stadium, the roads and mountains of France, is preserved for generations to come. What is the Tour de France? After more than a century, it's more than just a bike race. It is a living saga, a novel written every year, a story of geography, history, technology, and the evolution of sport. It is a complex tapestry of human struggle and triumph. The Tour endures because it tells a timeless tale of humanity versus nature, rivalries, and teamwork. The Tour de France connects with us because it mirrors the human experience. It reminds us of our capacity for resilience, courage, and hope. The race